Well, first of all, good morning and welcome to our discussion about how play really interfaces and enhances STEM development for children. And we're really excited about it. My name is Ken Seiter. I'm Executive Vice President of the Toy Association. And you know, at the Toy Association, we've been running a program called The Genius of Play. And this is a very exciting time. Because so much new research is coming out about how important play is in the development of children. Aligned with that is the whole, obviously we all know about the STEM movement and what's going on with that. And it's going to really be interesting today to see how they all interface together. You know, the American Academy of Pediatrics said that play's fun, but also play allows children to test their abilities. It allows children to fail. It allows children to explore and to invent. And that's a lot of what STEM is about, at least from my understanding of it. But anyway, we've been very fortunate to get a great panel together who live and breathe this stuff. And I'd like to introduce them now. There's Dr. Knatokie Ford, and she's founder and CEO of Sci Enterprise. We have Ted McGuire, who is president of Thames Kosmos. And we have Silver McDonald, who's head of Lego Education. So welcome and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, the way we're going to organize this is we have a series of questions that I'm going to ask, and like we've obviously said, okay, you take this, you take that, you take that, so we're going to do that, but we may also free fly, we'll see what happens. Okay guys, the first question. In your opinion, what is the single most important benefit of play as it relates to STEM and STEAM? Who wants to go first?
I'll start. So I would say, I won't call it the single most, but I would say a very strong benefit of play as it pertains to STEM is just really establishing very early on sort of a positive association with trial and error. You talked about this a little bit with your opening remarks. I think many times that there's a false assumption that to go into STEM or to work in these spaces, you don't see the failures, or you don't see the fact that you try something the first time and it doesn't work. So I think by showing kids how to do things very early on, and it's like, okay, you can try this the first time, and that's totally fine, but it also creates a positive sort of association and lays a great foundation for not having this intimidation that often accompanies what kids perceive in terms of science and tech fields. So I think it's really helping to build this foundation for positive associations with failure, that it's a very natural part of STEM, and that also the discovery element of it is really important as well.
That's beautiful, thank you.
Ted. Yeah. At Thames Kosmos, we're always talking about whether the toys we're making are appealing to kids and whether they're approachable. We use those terms all the time, appealing and approachable. And I think that's what it's all about. Like, we are trying to open the door to STEM for all these kids that might not know they're interested in it. We're trying to expose them to new things through play. So it's really about like taking science, which can be kind of scary, or taking STEM or STEAM, which can be scary to a lot of kids and a lot of families, and making it fun, lowering the barrier to entry, making it more appealing and more approachable. That's the way we think about it.
Silver.
Thank you. I would also add that play is where we really develop those early higher order thinking skills around problem solving, creativity, collaboration, that really set the child up for a long-term social and career success. And it really enables them to be long-term engaged learners, which is really important.
It's great, good. Okay, next question, and Ted, this one's for you. There are many types of play. Some involve a physical toy, while others happen on a device. What are the advantages and disadvantages of one versus the other when preparing kids for STEM careers?
Yeah, and I would add too that there's also the crossover products that are both on the device and physical, and we make a lot of those. But I would say that, you know, they often say that like the medium is more important than the message, but in this case, I think that that falls a little bit out of the way we think about it. Like, sometimes it's really more important to look at what the child is actually doing on the tablet, or what the digital experience actually is, and that's how you evaluate it. Like, they're not all created equal, and it's less about the medium for me than what what the actual interaction is. So basically, I think that both forms are really important, and the pros of the physical toys are, that it engages kids in a way that you just can't script, and like they can do experiments that a programmer hasn't predetermined what the outcome is, and they can learn how like a ball actually drops in the real world and how gravity actually works. And we can't replace that. I mean, maybe in the future you could have AI that replaces that, but we're not there yet. So you need the physical play. And then on the digital side, you need that too, because kids have to be prepared for using digital tools, and they need to be prepared for STEM careers. And I think that's...
At the American Academy of Pediatrics also, they were saying with digital play, which can be extremely valuable for kids, the more interactive kids can be with the tablets. Yeah. The more it gets them not only physically moving, but just intellectually moving and playing games and all that seems to be delivering the greatest benefit and value. So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I would add a little bit to that with where we are seeing that with having a physical product, it activates different parts of the mind, and it accelerates memory recall as well. And so it is highly associated with the executive functions specifically as children grow. And so that's one of the benefits on the physical product side. But there's benefits across both.
Yeah.
Good. Anything else? Good? Okay. Next, Silver, this one's for you. Okay, how can play empower parents and teachers to guide children in the exploration of STEM subjects?
Absolutely. I think, as my peers have said, there's a lot of intimidation around STEM in general, and I think that incorporating play helps to lower the anxiety barrier. So there are a lot of different types of resources. There's a great article published by LEGO Foundation specifically, which could be of use for folks, and I'll share it with Ken afterwards. Another thing is it's not just for teachers and just for the parents. It's up to the entire community and society to help these children have these experiences and have positive experiences. One of the things we did recently with LEGO Education out of our Boston office was have a group of local students come in from an underserved school. We had them create a product, go through prototyping, go through branding. We had different workstations, different teams. They were able to decide what age group they wanted to focus on, go through how many they thought they could sell, and then afterwards it was sort of a capstone, and they presented the results back to the teammates, the LEGO Education team, their teachers. And they had so much fun, and the ideas were fantastic. And then we said, okay, when today did we use math? And the students were not sure, they could identify some of them, but we'd actually use math throughout the entire day. And so it was a way to really lower the barrier and show how fun and exciting these are when it's an integrated experience. And really that's something that we did in partnership with the teacher and with the community. And I think it's up to all of us to make sure that we ensure all children can have those early building blocks of confidence, as you said, so they can be really excited about a whole plethora of opportunities ahead of them.
Right.
If I could add something as well, I think there's an increasing interest in really trying to help parents feel less intimidated by STEM, because parents can unknowingly transfer their own anxieties about these subjects to their kids. There's actually research that shows that parents that have math anxiety who try to help their kids with their math homework, those children do worse than if they hadn't gotten any help at all. Mm-hmm. And so I really think we can't just only focus on we're going to push STEM on our kids without really trying to help our parents recognize that you don't have to be a STEM professional to raise a child that has an interest and can excel in these spaces. So it's just as important to build confidence in parents as it is in kids, and I think it's just great that play can be a wonderful avenue to do that.
That's great. Yeah. High level of anxiety, not only amongst the children, but also the parents. Next one, STEM subjects are science-driven and high-tech by their nature. Does incorporating sophisticated technology into a product increase the STEM benefits of the product? Why or why not? Ted?
Thanks. Yeah. Again, I'm going to sort of hedge the question and say both. I think you really need we think about it in two ways at Thames Kosmos. So half of our products, or a certain portion of the products, are highly innovative, and we want to really excite kids about innovative tech and new technologies and things they're seeing in current events and in the media. And those things might not be entirely possible for them to put together from scratch at home. So like it's really sort of just trying to wow them with technology, and through that excitement get them interested in STEM. Like examples would be like robotics kits, and we have a fuel cell car where the proton exchange membrane, and we have other products that use high tech that is sort of, it's a little bit of a black box for the child, but it's all about exciting them and getting them interested in new things. But then really fundamental to like the whole line and what we're trying to do with our science kits is teaching the core subjects and the foundational principles. Like, every kid needs to learn like the basics of physics and chemistry and biology and just the really simple stuff, so not the high-tech stuff, because they won't understand the high-tech stuff if they don't start with the basics. So we want, and the thing that I always come back to is like, for me, like I've seen, a slime experiment for the past 20 years, like every year. But for like, there's a new group of 4-year-olds coming into the market every year, and there's like a fresh set of eyes, and it's new to them. So the basic stuff is just as important as the high-tech stuff. They both are necessary in play.
It's great. It's great. Thank you. Okay, Knatokie. How can the latest technologies such as AR and VR be effectively utilized to enhance STEM learning?
This is a great question. Well, one, the cool thing about the world we live in today, especially given that we're at CES, is that if you have a smartphone device, you can literally have access to a potential VR tool. And so the cool thing is that when we talk about the digital divide and like access, there could be kids who may not have access to a computer, but they might have a smartphone. And so bringing it all together, the beauty of what's happening in the AR and VR space is part of the joy of trying to get kids interested, or the joy of doing STEM, is to be able to experience it. You can't just imagine if you were to try to inspire someone to become a basketball player and they had to read about it for 12 years before they ever got to play, right? So if you're not a person that has access to, let's say, a physical laboratory, or if you want to become an archaeologist and you don't have access to those physical things, the beauty of the AR and the VR world that's emerging is that you can bring those experiences to kids, and kids from all walks of life, in theory, because we have these great technologies that are emerging that are making it more accessible to kids, even in potentially underserved areas.
Yeah.
So yeah, the immersive aspect is so critical for helping to build that confidence, but also to maintain the interest in STEM as well.
Yeah, and I'll add to like make things possible that you can't do in a boxed product, or like there's certain things that you can fit into a retail box at a $50 price point or a $20 price point, and like an archaeological dig is not one of them. Or so like the VR and AR experiences allow you to just present so much more. It makes so much more possible to the kids, but you still need those hands-on interactions at the same time, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the other thing is, the AR and the VR makes it fun. It makes it, to just enhance whatever the kids imagine, It's really exciting.
Well, and also, not just fun, but it could potentially help them meet actual people, in theory, that are working for professionals in this space. One of the things I'm very big on is showing kids diverse role models in STEM. And so being able to go and meet a woman or a person of color who is an engineer or astrophysicist who they might not have otherwise access to in real life, this is also very critical. So I think the AR and VR space is really cool in terms of really helping to close the gaps that exist in terms of exposure and access for kids in all walks of life.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Thanks. Yeah, no, that's really good. Okay, Ted, this one's for you again. What advice do you have for product designers and children's media and content developers who are looking to create STEM product? You get the hard ones. Huh?
I could be here all day, and I can't give away all of our secrets. But I'll go back to what Silver touched on a little bit, which with the exercise they did with the children, in designing their own product, which is like you sort of have to practice what you preach in. Like if you're trying to teach kids STEM and science and the scientific method and engineering design, you have to practice those things. So like come up with an idea that you're passionate about, prototype it, put it out there, whether you actually bring it to market in some way, or you kickstart it, or you just do focus groups with prototypes, or user testing sessions with prototypes. Just put it out there, see what type of user feedback you get, see if it's hitting on those approachable, see if it's appealing to the consumer or the user, and then iterate and iterate and iterate and do that over and over until you have a successful product. And yeah, I mean, define what is successful. I mean, there's so many things. There's like that. I think one of the main things is like keeping it simple, because there's that whole fear factor that you mentioned before about so many parents are scared to use STEM STEM kits with their kids because they're afraid of looking like failures in front of their kids. I hear this a lot. And so you really have to, as the product developer, make it easy and accessible and kind of like foolproof for them to have a successful experience with their kids. It's all about usability and making sure you include all the parts that you need, or if you don't include it, then how are they going to get it, and making sure they have it in the house. Going through that whole thought process about usability. I could go on for a long time about it, but
No, that's good. That's good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, stereotypes. This follows up on what you were saying. Stereotypes are a barrier that prevents many young people of diverse backgrounds from pursuing a career in STEM. How can play address this problem?
Well, first, just to really reiterate the importance of how damaging the stereotypes can be. So if you tell a group of girls that boys are better at math before they take a math test, those girls will do worse on that exam than if you had not identified this negative stereotype at all. So just to really, it's not just, it's a perception piece and it's not as important, but it really, these perceptions and these negative stereotypes are literally killing, not just killing confidence, but also affecting achievement and performance. And so I think what we touched on a little bit earlier in terms of the AR and VR space, part of what contributes to these stereotypes is the images and the media that we consume that either reinforce or that don't actually present the full picture exactly. And so really, I think the opportunity with play is via games, et cetera, and toys, is really giving kids a chance to, perhaps if they haven't seen it in real life or experienced a woman or a black male who's an engineer, then perhaps there's a toy they can use that can help expose them to that, or there's an AR or a VR experience that can bring that to them. So I think we're really shifting in terms of when we look at the STEM ecosystem and all these pushes towards improving education and really trying to attract a more diverse workforce, we are also really trying to double down on acknowledging the role that these negative stereotypes play in actually affecting people. And I can say this to you as a person, I'm a biomedical scientist by training, and my whole life I had always done very well in school. I attended for college a historically black university, and then when I got to grad school, I went to Harvard for my PhD. It was like this identity crisis for me. I had been this, talented, and I had achieved well my whole life, but getting in a space where I was now the only person, I was often the only African American, or sometimes among the few, it literally caused me to question myself in spite of this long track record of achievement that I had. So imagine if this has this effect on me as an adult that already had a proven record for achievement. What does this do to our kids who don't have that fortune or not fortunate to have that foundation already? And so everything that I just said, I think the stereotype piece we can't underestimate the power that it has and the importance of really doubling down and working hard to change these stereotypes that are literally killing confidence and discouraging underrepresented groups from even conceiving that it's possible for them to go into these fields and achieve.
That's great. That's good. Okay. How does adding A to STEM change or enhance what play can do? It's a loaded
Do you want me to start? I mean, I'll say something that's maybe a little controversial in this regard. First of all, I'm so happy that people are talking about STEM and STEAM, and so Kosmos, our parent company in Germany, has been making science kits for almost 100 years, and they've called them experiment kits in German. When we started selling science kits in 2000, we called them science kits, not STEM kits. STEM was just sort of coming up. Recently we've started calling everything STEM, and in the past 5 years or so we've started hearing STEAM. So I'm just happy that people are talking about it, but and it sort of doesn't matter what it's called in a way. And the acronym will probably change, and the way we understand it will change. I tend to think that the A part can be confusing to children and to teachers and to parents, by adding it, so it sort of dilutes the message of STEM. Like we need to get kids into STEM, and we need to get them interested in hardcore physics and hardcore science and hardcore chemistry, and we can't sugarcoat that with arts and crafts projects. Arts and crafts is great in a certain place, we need that too, but I don't think we have as much trouble getting kids excited about arts and crafts as we do about STEM. So that's sort of my personal view. At the same time, I understand the STEAM, the acronym is all about how it's all interdisciplinary and the art is integrated into all portions of it and you can't strip them out. And I tend to think that the A is already part of engineering anyway. Any engineering program has so much creativity already in it.
That's a really interesting point.
So anyway, it's difficult because it's sort of you could break things apart and keep labeling it and keep labeling it, and how many letters are you going to add to it? Are you going to add an R for robotics or
string?
At a certain point, it loses its message. So,
now we're throwing an R in there too
string.
for reading.
Yeah. So and then you get a humanities education, which I think is really important. I think everybody needs to also learn history and English, because without those things, you don't understand the context in which you're working. So. That's my long-winded
I'll just say, if I could just say really quickly, the one thing I will say, and I'm kind of like you with we're throwing more letters in an acronym that still not everybody fully knows what each letter stands for, but I will say that I think the benefit of bringing the A in is that I think there's been this long-held view that you could either be a creative person or you could be into science. It was you were either or.
Yes.
So I think the beauty of bringing it together is that they aren't at odds, and in fact, as you said, creativity is very much a part of being a STEM professional, and so I think bringing them together makes it, young people especially feel I don't have to be one or the other, but I can be both or all things.
Yeah.
Silver.
I would add, if I dare, I apologize, I have that cough that's going around, so I'm really sorry. I think the A actually helps to lower the inhibition levels. I think it could be really good from that perspective. Yeah. I think it's also good to look at it as a blended approach. I work with districts all across the country, and they are adding more and more to the acronym. So I have seen STREAM, where you add in reading. I've seen STREAM squared, where the second M is for medicine, and a C stream, where it starts with computer science and then STEM. So, but I think the core part is the fact that art can make it so people do feel it's accessible regardless of where they're starting.
That's great. That's
point.
good.
Yeah.
I guess we have, how much time do we have left? 1 minute. Oh, Jesus. Does anyone have any questions?
2 minutes.
Any questions? Okay, I just want to give an observation. I had a little time yesterday to walk the floor a little bit, and the one thing that really encouraged me a lot about this whole STEM, STEAM, what people are introducing into this whole arena is empowerment of children. There were products there on the floor where kids were encouraged to create their own, and then incorporate different technologies into it eventually, starting very simply, to Ted's point, and then building on it and all. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. Letting the kids create, letting it come from them and all. Just my 2 cents. But anyway, that's it. Thank you, guys.